So till now it was Eva- Evans who wanted to give exam, and governor had made a call to the secretary, and all the preparations were done. Same morning, the Reverend Stuart McCleary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street. He was wearing long black overcoat, crown clerical hat, which provided him protection from the steady drizzle. He was carrying a small brown suitcase, which contained all that he would need for this morning duties, including a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow invitation form, a special authentication card from examination board, a paper knife Bible. He was to speak to the Women's Guild that afternoon on the Book of Ruth and the current copy of the church. All these things that show that he was the one who was going to be the invigilator. The 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. Evans was about to shave when Stephens brought in two small square tables, set them opposite. Means every preparation was going on. Tables were set, chairs were set, and Jackson was coming up. He came. He told Evans that he should be behaving properly, and then he pointed to the pinups, saying that he should be removing it. So Evans said that he was anyway going to remove them because he very well knew that there was a priest who was going to, a minister. Minister means priest, parson. So Jackson was a little alarmed. He inquired, how did he come to know? So Evans told him that he had to sign some forms. Uh, he came to know from that. Now, as he was shaving himself, he just inquired from Jackson that why they have to bug me in this cell. You know what is this bug? Bug is a word which is used for small microphone. Now there was a small microphone which was placed in the room, and Evans was smart enough to know that. So Jackson said, okay, fine. So you have come to know about it. So Evans inquired, they don't honestly think I must. Evans inquired from Mr. Jackson that is everyone thinking that he is going to do something notorious? Then he inquired who is going to listen to. And so Jackson informed him that it is the governor who is going to listen. He don't trust you a bloody inch, nor do I. No one trusts you. And Jackson just then told, I'll be watching you like a hawk, Ivan, so keep your nose clear. Huh? Nose clear means don't create any trouble. Ivan nodded. And then before leaving, Jackson says, one more thing, Einstein. Yeah, what's that? Good luck, old son. Now, meanwhile, at the prison's main gate, McCleary has arrived. Now, there's the word reverend, which is coming often. Now, reverend is generally used for the priest and all that. So, whenever anyone comes to visit a prison, there are certain formalities which have to be done. Names have to be entered and something. So, all these formalities were done. And he was brought to the D wing where he was welcomed by Jackson. The wing's heavy outer door was unlocked, locked behind him, and heavy inner iron door were locked and all that. Now McCleary was along with the Stephen, so Jackson was inquiring from Jackson, Stephen, whether he has taken away the razor or everything. He also informed him to be very, very cautious. Now they came to the cell. Looking through the peephole, what they saw, Evans was with that German grammar book. Now, generally, it happens during the examination, and most of you will relate to it. When you are walking or climbing the stairs, you are just looking into the book, last minute preparation. That was what was going on. So he told him that this is Ivan's, and just from there, looking through the peephole, he introduced the invigilator to the person who was going to give the exam. Meanwhile, governor, he switched on the receiver. He had actually told Jackson to tell everything, all the preparation that were made to Evans. He very well knew that even if Evans would not be told, Evans was smart enough to know that there has been some arrangement which has been done. And anyway, governor felt that this was all drama, schoolboy sort of activity that he was doing. Because why would Evans try anything today? It was earlier. It was easier to do it earlier. Now today, when the entire prison authorities will be on alert and so much precaution taken, governor felt that Evans would certainly not try anything desperate today, and Evans was as safe as the houses. Anyway, he felt that it would not be trouble because there was hardly going to be anything to be listened. Because during the examination, it was invigilator's duty to see that there was a perfect silence in the whole room. While governor was thinking all this, he recalled every event that he had asked Jackson to remove everything, and Jackson had reported that he had removed everything. But suppose this invigilator, he brought something which Evans would use to his advantage. Now, this idea had not occurred to him earlier. So he immediately called D Block and he explained everything to Jackson. Now, Jackson, when he heard instructions given by the governor, he went to the cell, called out everyone, and then he explained everything to McCleary. Explained the concern of the government to McCleary, and McCleary was very cooperative. He held out his arm. He was brisk. Brisk means tatolna. So everything was done. There was something hard, so McCleary explained that it was uh, his spectacles and something like that. And then quickly reassured, Jackson reassured him, and then he went down to his suitcase. He checked everything. He checked through the uh, Bible, and then he shook the newspaper, Church Times, and all that. There was one thing in the whole box which was very much which was confusing Jackson. So he just asked, "Do you mind telling me why you have brought this, sir?" He held up a smallish, semi-inflated rubber ring, which such as a young child with a vest of about 12 inches might have struggled into. So he asked jokingly that if he really intended to go for any swimming after the examination was over. Now, this McCleary, who was so pleasant till now, amicable till now, suddenly there was irritation on his face. He said that if he really wanted to know about that rubber tube, that he suffered from hemorrhoid. Hemorrhoid is another name for piles. So he said that he suffered from hemorrhoid and sitting on the tough, sitting down for any length of time. Now, this was very embarrassing for Jackson. He said, "Okay, sorry, fine." And then he checked everything. The paper knife, which was there, he said that he will be taking it and he will be returning only after the examination was going to be over. It was 9:18 a.m. And the exam was going to start at a different time. Now it was already delayed. Now, every conversation which was there in the room, it was audible to governor because he was sitting at the receiver. So there was a conversation going. "You have got a watch?" "Yes, sir. I'll be telling you when to start and when to end. There's plenty more of this writing paper should you need." Now, general instructions which are given during the examination, write your roll number, center number, and all these things which were done. In the top right hand corner, write your index number 313, and in the box just below, write your center number 271 920. The exam was about to start. The invigilator announced that I am going to. Now, before he was going to announce, Evans just interrupted, saying that will he be also sitting? There was someone else also in the room, and McLeary had no idea about that person. So he said that I don't know. But before anyone could speak, the man who was in the room, it was no one else but Stephens. He said that he has been instructed by Jackson to stay there. And Ivan said that how can I concentrate on my exam? Now imagine that situation. When you are giving your examination and your invigilator, for example, let me say it is English paper and I am there and I stand beside you to see what you are writing. You feel nervous. So that was the context, that was the pretext that Evans took up and say that he cannot concentrate on his examination with the feeling that someone was looking at from his back. Now, governor who was listening immediately called Jackson, saying that ask Stephens to get out of the cell, and he felt that perhaps they were overdoing the things. Now, Stephens was removed. It was 9:25. Exam was actually going to start at 9:15, but because of certain things, it was delayed, and now it was 9:25 and examination started. At 9:40 a.m., uh, examination board rang through, and it was assistant secretary with special responsibility for modern languages asked to speak to the governor. He informed governor that there was a correction slip which was to go with the question paper because of the mistake of someone that could not go, can he pass on that correction to the place where the examination was going? So governor said, yes, of course, I'll put you straight through Mr. Jackson in the evening. Hold the line for a minute. And while he was transferring the call, there were certain thoughts which were going on in the mind of the governor. Was this the sort of thing governor had feared? Was the phone call a fake, some signal, some secret message? But at the same time, governor knew that he could check out. So he dialed the number of the examination board, but heard only the staccato bleeps of a line engaged. But then the line was engaged, wasn't it? Yes, not very intelligent that, and governor laughed at his own foolishness. 2 minutes later, he heard some whispered communication in the cell, and then McLeary's broad Scots voice. Will you please stop writing a vival, Mr. Evans, and listen carefully? Candidates offering German 02. So generally when there is correction, you must have experienced this, that the things are announced. And McLeary was doing the same thing. On page 3, line 15, the fourth word should read Goldini, not Goldine, and the whole phrase will therefore read Zoom Golden Loven, not Zoom Golden Loven. I'll repeat that. So he made all the correction which was required. Governor listened and smiled. He himself was a student of German in sixth form, and he remembered all about the agreements of adjectives, and he was very much impressed by the pronunciation of the invigilator. But at the same time, he felt, did Evans know anything? After some time, the phone rang again. This was from the magistrate's court. They wanted a prison van and a couple of prison officers. It was a remand case. Again, governor's mind started running wild. Running wild? Was this a fake call? Was this a signal? Governor controlled his mind. No, you know why all this was happening? This was because Evans was involved in the whole process, and Evans had a reputation. And what was Evans' reputation? He was known for breaking the jails. Now, for the first quarter of an hour, Stephens had dutifully peeped through the peephole at intervals of 1 minute or so, and after that, every 2 minutes. At 10:45, everything was still all right. As he looked through the peephole once more, it took 4 or 5 seconds, no more. What was the point? It was more or less the same. Evans, his pen between his lips, sat staring straight in front of him towards the door, seeking, it seemed, some sorely needed inspiration from somewhere. Ah, this may remind you of your own examination scene when you are stuck at a question. किसी question पे फंस जाते हो, and then what do? You start looking here and there. कभी ऊपर देखा, कभी नीचे देखा, कभी दाएं देखा, कभी बाएं देखा. हाँ, कि कहीं से आंसर मिल जाए. Same was the situation. Stephens, whenever he saw Evans only staring at the door. And at the same time, McLeary, who was the invigilator because he had nothing to do, so he was going through all the things. He was just reading his newspaper and all that because he has nothing else to do. His right index finger hooked beneath the narrow clerical collar, and the fingers of the left hand, the nails meticulously manicured, slowly stroking the short black beard. So this was the scene. And this was the scene Stephen saw every time, and he found no change. So he felt that it was useless to look into the cell after every minute or after every 2 minutes, and he felt that it was a wastage of time. At around uh, 10:50, the there was sound some on receiver, and Governor, who had almost forgotten Evans, he heard some voice. Evans was requesting permission to get that blanket because he felt that it was cold. So Governor heard that McLeary gave him the permission. At 10:51 a.m., Stephens was more than a little surprised to see a grey regulation blanket wrapped around Evans' shoulders, and he frowned slightly and looked at the examinee more closely. But Evans, the pen still between his teeth, was staring just as vacantly as before. So only change was that Evans had put on the blanket, but everything else was same. For a moment, Stephens thought, should he report? But then he felt that okay, this part of the prison hardly got any sunlight, and in the rough weather it was colder than normal time. He continued. He even thought that was Evans trying to do some Batman leap or something like that, capturing McLeary with his blanket and all that. But then he considered himself to be foolish with those ideas, and he felt that he should continue with that 1 minute observation. At 11:20 a.m., the receiver once more crackled across the silence of the governor's office, and McLeary informed me once that only 5 minutes remained. The examination was almost over now. But something still gnawed, and दिमाग में कुछ चल रहा था गवर्नर के अभी भी. क्या हो गया? एग्जाम खत्म होने वाला है. Nothing happened. He reached for the phone once more. At 11:22 a.m., Jackson shouted along the corridor to Stephens. The governor wanted to speak with him. Hurry, man. So at 11:20, Governor picked up the phone. 11:22, Jackson shouted at Stephens that Governor wants to speak to him, and Stephens picked up the phone and then listened to the rapidly spoken orders. Stephens, what was the instruction? That Stephens will accompany McLeary to the gate. Stephens will see that the gate of the cell was properly closed and all these things. So these were the various instructions which were given to Stephens. And this all happened at 11